In this video, let's take a look at the two-argument variation for function-functional interface. So let's first take a look at the bifunction definition. The bifunction deals with three types. Two types, T and U, are input argument types, while R is the type of the argument that's returned back to the client. Now suppose we wish to find out a personal assistant of a manager given an employee and manager. We can do this by creating a lambda expression as shown in this example here. Given an employee and manager, we are going to find out the manager of the employee, and from the manager we are going to find out the personal assistant of the manager, himself or herself. It requires three types. The first two types are the input parameters which matches to your lambda expression here. And the final type is the one returned by this lambda expression. Let's see this in action. This apply method should return you an employee. Now, if you run this example by passing in an employee and manager, which I have already created here, they should provide us with the right information back to us. As you can see, the employee who has been created as 99 is exactly the one which has been passed across to us as well. So whenever there is a requirement of passing in two arguments and returning a value, then use the bifunction, which is a two-argument function. Now, similar to what we have been learning, bifunction 2 has a default method to support high-order functions, or function composition as we say. Use the default method called and then to chain the functions together. When composing the single argument functions, the result of the first function flows into the second function smoothly, right? This works very wonderfully well in single argument functions, but when it comes to two argument functions, the second function to be chained expects two arguments while the first function produces a single argument as output. This is the reason you must understand the and then method definition clearly. Look at the definition shown here. The and then takes in a function, applies that one, and returns a bifunction back to the user. Don't get fooled and start chaining bifunctions together. You must provide a function to use this and then functionality on a bifunction. For this example, let's create a function too. Say given an employee, get his manager, from his manager, get his PA. So it's a simple function example which we already seen earlier. This function is expecting an employee, and given his manager, from his manager, we are trying to return a personal assistant. Now that we have both a bifunction and a function, we can compose them and create a new function. So let's create a personal assistant function by using and then method on this bifunction interface. We are trying to compose the bifunction and a function together using the and then method, which produces a personal assistant bifunction. We use that function by calling apply method on that. And then takes in a function as its argument, but not a bifunction. Now, before we end the discussion on bifunctions, you may be wondering about try functions. Well, certainly there is no try function defined by Java 8 designers in its API. However, creating one is a piece of cake. The following definition defines the three-argument predicate, which basically takes in three arguments, u, v, and w, and finds out the conditionality test on those arguments. Similarly, we could create try consumer or a try function. I simply copy the code here. Now let's wrap up here. So this session dealt with two-argument function. Java library does not provide three-argument functions. Instead, it is up to us to create them.